Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Got Will today. We have a pre-submitted question, which I'm going to grab, but that user's not in yet. So if you have any questions, please let us know. All right, from Vitaly, can we create GraphQL in decisions and what are the best practices to work with GraphQL? I think you can connect to GraphQL. I'm pretty sure you can. Let's see here. No docs. I think graph is an option. Maybe I'm thinking OData. Yeah, MS Graph. Is MS Graph and GraphQL the same thing? Difference between Graph API and GraphQL. Query language for user API. I think GraphQL is just, that's right. Isn't GraphQL just like putting filter params in the request? I'm not sure there's anything specific you need to do to support it in decisions, since you can then you probably have to do some text merging work to filter it. Let me just see here. GraphQL query language for API. We don't have an out of the box. I was thinking MS Graph, I guess. We don't have an out of the box method for it, but I'm pretty sure you can just use normal REST steps to make these calls. Where did I see this at? I've looked at this before. Or is it in the post body? This example is clearly a post body. Yeah, so project name, GraphQL tagline, yeah. Spec. I don't want spec. Code. C#. Go. They have curl in this. It would be easy for us to see. So I don't think we did. I thought you could just do API calls though, without needing to import anything. Apollo GraphQL. Serving over HTTP. Yeah, okay. You can definitely make it here, like you can build these custom query params in your REST calls. So I'd say you probably can connect to it, but it wouldn't be, we don't have a custom connector, and it's not sort of thought through in some like easy to use way, or sort of any kind of way. But you should be able to connect to it by being able, because you can completely control the query parameters in a REST call. I think that's about as good of an answer as I can give you today. Yeah. HTTP get and post, you can make those with a HTTP call, with a REST call. Get, query string, post, you could do the same thing in a post body, which means you could just build up, you could use serialized, deserialized steps and create JSON objects, though you might need to use string manipulation for something like that instead of types. All right, Daryl, let you talk if you want. Is there a place to see the security logs for users and decisions?
Yeah, so I'm doing sort of like a monthly review and audit, and so one of the
Okay.
things that we're looking for, like activity logs, so I can see maybe the trail people things have clicked on, looked at, timestamps, things of that nature.
There's nothing, I don't know that there's a good analog for that in the things that we track today. The difficulty there for us is really the interactions your users have are on custom built workflows, right? They're going to dashboards that your team has built or clicking on reports that you've built, even if you is our service team, right? Depending
Yes.
on the particulars. We have audit logs where you can see data changes to things, and you can see users who've changed those if auditing is enabled on the data type or on the particular data types. But there's no real audit log of user interaction that you could see where a user has gone to over time.
Sure. Can you show me on screen where your audit logs are?
Yeah, so they would be in here. So you'd go to System Administration Auditing, and you should see a report here, if auditing is enabled, of the audit data that's in the system today. And there should be like creation and update data here.
So I have the same thing. I don't think we have that enabled. It says auditing is not currently enabled.
So what you'd be looking at is something like if you came and created like a data type here. Let's assume there's a database structure here called, simple database test one, and this was like running a part of your process, right? I'll just put in a custom field there. And on this thing, you'd look and see, is audit changes set to true? And if that's set to true, and then I were to create one of those things, let me just create one really quick. And simple database test one, here's a create step. And I was going to do build data, and I'll just put some constant text in here, and I'll run this. Okay, if I were to come back, I should have data in that report now. Or the current filter is returning no data. Let me edit this really quick. Just a moment. Show all, show all, show all. Get rid of these filters really quick. See if I can get this to show up. I wonder if I need to restart services for that to take effect. Let me just see here really quick. Oh, do I have to actually enable it? And do I have to also set it up now? Sorry, we've made some changes here. Enable auditing. Types to audit is simple database test one. Save. Let me run this flow again. Okay, auditing. There it is. Interesting that you have to do both of those. That's kind of unfortunate. But now you can see I've actually created that data, and it'll actually show me the changes. But it's at a data level. it
Okay.
would show me who made a change. So maybe if there's like loans or accounts or some object, you could see the changes to that object over time. But you don't get like a auditing in the sense of like portal navigation, like who
Hmm.
went where and saw what.
Okay. All right. So right now in decisions, and this is maybe what you're saying, there's not a clean way to be like, all right, we have 8 users and I could go and figure out what those users have done over a month. There's no real clean way to do that.
That's correct. Right
Mhm.
now, I don't think there's a good way for us to give you that view. We don't tell you. There's some things you could see that would be use case specific, like
Mhm.
maybe but they would be like maybe processes that were initiated. So
Mhm.
like say for us, like we use decisions for ticketing, right? So I could see, people that have modified a ticket or submitted a ticket or closed a ticket,
Mhm. Mhm.
right? I can see people who have added comments to tickets. Um, you could see all, like you could query all the things that were created by a particular user if you're creating things. Um, you could probably get some data object information out of it that's
Mhm.
different than the auditing. But like if you were like trying to see how many times, if the question was how many times has user X, gone to the manager approval dashboard,
Mhm.
right? You don't get that level of detail if that's what you're
Gotcha.
asking for.
Okay. All right. Yeah. That's kind of what I was thinking. So maybe on some of the objects I could enable auditing, it looked like, and maybe
Hmm.
could track that going forward, maybe as an option.
Yeah, yeah. So you can see changes to data objects over time. Like what do you guys use decisions for today?
So we're insurance. So we basically right now we have 2 POCs that we're using. Basically, it's a front end rater. We'll just have a form, put in some information, get a
Okay,
rate, and then it transfers over via API to our main
okay,
system.
got it.
So, we have flows, we have objects, data structures. And so ideally, I would like to be able to know, what changes or who's clicked on what at any given period of time, monthly. Just part of our security protocols to just say, is everyone using decisions like they should, kind of?
Right. Yeah, you'd probably be looking at some kind of third-party tech to give you that level of detail
Mm,
today.
okay. All right.
We have customers using like Datadog to pull data. I don't know if that's exactly right. If that would give you like, if you could trace a user sessions, I think that data doesn't persist super long. Um, Maybe auditing would give you what you want. If there's data, if there's change, like if when that someone runs, like a rate calculation, if you
Mhm.
create a record somewhere, you could see, um, you could look at those ads or those edits to things.
Okay.
You can, if you can look in, if you're looking at, are these designer users or end users?
Well, right, both. Right now we're
Okay.
designer users, but we have one of our PLCs that has some end users in it. Ideally, we're really focused on the designer side. Anyone who would have a designer or admin capabilities.
So you could look at under here under system administration, system tools, system validation, you can see recent changes. Now in here you can look at what people have edited.
Okay,
This
so
is designer entities here.
system administration, and then you said
System
tools.
tools, system validation, and then on the top here, go to this design changes tab.
Got it. Yep, found it.
And this will show you everything edited within some period of time. But it will be just the last edit, not a sum of all edits.
Okay, yeah,
So that
but
like
it.
this tells you the last time flow 8 was edited by this user was today, 6/12.
Okay. Well, that does give me one view to sort of see um, who's done what, and it gives me the last timestamp. So,
Hmm.
I mean, that's a start. That's a good start there. I could snip that. So, and that will give me an idea based on the user. Right now, it's only like 2 or 3 of us, so
Hmm.
so it's easy to be like, oh, that makes sense that either me or this other person did this.
Right.
And it also tells me what they touched, and so that's good. And it's the last edit. So, all right, it gives me an idea. So that's good. Is there any other report or tool out there that kind of shows changes, or maybe anything other than just going to a flow, seeing the last person that edited was X. I think this may be the major report that kind of shows all things edited in a certain time frame.
Yeah, it's this. Then you can start looking like, then you start kind of diving in sort of flow by flow,
Sure.
where like inside of a flow, there is a history folder. So if you like were to right click on this and go to history documentation and open in view,
Hmm.
and here you can see, now you start to see the history view for that particular flow. So theoretically, you could get like a report that would show you all, like these are comments right here on the left-hand side.
Hmm.
And this is all of the versions. You can enforce comments to be saved, so you could look to see what people have done. It won't give you information about it. But you should be able to see the history of saves at the flow level.
Okay. All right.
I don't know if you could look at this level of view across the application server today. Hmm.
Okay. Well, I mean, you've given me a couple things to sort of noodle on and work with a little bit. I think, I think this is really our first month doing it. So, and, maybe we'll build something farther from that. And I did see on the last report you showed me, on system validation, I could look at 30 days of data. I can make that filter change. So
Right.
yeah, it's a good start. Um, worst thing can the security can be like, hey, can we give it more of this or that? And I could say, hey, this is what they have, and this is what we can do.
Yeah, we could definitely try to figure out if there's some long-term pieces that we might be able to add, given whatever feedback you get.
Sure.
Do you know who your customer success manager is?
I think I work with Kim Lynn a lot. Kim
Okay.
Lynn,
So
on
she
this.
can facilitate a conversation with product if we need to think about enhancing what we do today,
Okay.
given whatever kind of pushback you might get from your security team about what default auditing is available.
Okay. Good deal.
But
Uh,
yeah, I think we probably there's some kind of other third-party tool, almost like maybe not like maybe like a Pendo or something
mhm.
that gives you this level of detail if you're trying to figure out where people are going and what they're doing,
Okay. All
as
right.
opposed to the data changes they're enacting, right? Like ours is all on the data side, not on the portal side.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. All right. Yeah. I'm gonna, work on this and then I'll submit it and, like I said, see what feedback we get and what we need to do differently. And maybe I need to engage with Kim Lynn to see if there are other options we could possibly do in the future. But yeah, this is good. This is a good start.
Okay, yeah,
All right.
happy to help, sir.
All right. Thanks. Appreciate it.
You bet. Vitali, yes, the Compara utility still exists, but it's kind of, it's kind of not great. So yes, you can still compare old versions of flows to one another.
Oh, okay.
Um, but this is it's very much a beta, I think is the right is the nicest way to say this.
Okay.
If you wanted to see what change in a flow, you could use this, but it's quite experimental. It's not ironclad, and we are working to redo this from the ground up.
Okay. All right. Good deal. Thanks. I appreciate you guys' help.
You bet. Happy to help. All right. If you have any more questions, please let me know. Yeah, I wish I could have Vitaly. I don't have a easily demo open API. Oh, the Chat GPT thing. I need someone who's used the module a bit. I'm pretty sure it's just a series of steps and an API key. Like if we look at our modules here, should see open API somewhere. Yeah. It's just an API key and a series of steps. I don't think it's anything different than that. Yeah, so let's go look at a flow. Oh, then no, I have no clue where to even start with that. You're talking about the Open API service reference? Yeah, I don't have any clues here. I've not used this before myself. Let's see, what do we got? Oh, it's absurd. We should definitely have Open API. Let me get a ticket into Ask Doc Team to get that addressed. So Open API and OData, yes, absolutely. I think I'm gonna get those submitted now. All right, I think we're at the end of the time here. Let me double check to see if I missed anything. Oh no, where are my meeting controls at? Chat. All right, I think that's it. I'll go ahead and Vitaly will go ahead and get those docs submitted for OpenAPI node data. Those are good calls, sir. All right, thanks everyone. Have a great day. I will see you at the same time tomorrow.